A lot of times golfers think of their loft as a little bit of an afterthought, but today we're going to show you why that shouldn't be the case. Emma's with me. We're going to test a driver at 9 degrees and at 11 degrees and show you why you got to make sure that loft is dialed in. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf here at the tour event at Second Swing at Minnetonka, joined by Emma Carpenter for a fun head-to-head comparison. And typically we do these kind of club head to club head, but today it's about driver loft. And what we're gonna do is, Emma, you've got your driver here. Mm-hmm. TSR2, 9 degrees with the Graphite Design Tour AD DI 6S shaft. But you play at 9 degrees. So actually first I want you to kind of tell the people why you play your driver at 9 degrees. Because that is a little bit lower, I guess, compared to most people out there.
Yeah, a lot of times I feel like with any set that's like maybe senior or like maybe beginner, they're set at really high lofts.
Yeah, you see like 12 or 13 degree drivers sometimes.
Yeah, just because it's not as easy to get the ball up in the air. Mm-hmm. But for me, I like to play a draw off the tee, which naturally I also like to swing up on it a lot. So my attack angle is really high just because I like to swing up to hit a big high draw to get as much carry as possible out of it. So with that being said, if I had a really high lofted driver, it would be a lot easier to overdraw it because it gets up super high, I'm swinging up, then you know ball gets way left, or the opposite, you know, just a really, really high right miss.
The old big banana.
Exactly. So because I have a lower loft on my driver, it just helps me to hit that draw, but the height does not get too high at all. I don't really lose it. It just kind of stays penetrating and solid.
Yeah, so today we have, this is a very basic head-to-head, but we're going to kind of just show the impact of driver loft. So we're going to play yours as it is currently set up, your driver with your shaft and your club head as it's currently set up, and then we're going to bring in the 11 degree head. So this is Titleist TSR2 at 11 degrees. We're going to see, I mean, you're probably going to look at this thing and see a bunch more loft, and it might freak you out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even know if the ball is going to go left or right. It's just going to go way higher, way shorter. I like, because I'm hitting it high, like swinging high up on it, having a head with lower loft also kind of helps get a little bit more of that like top spin, that low spin. So the spin's probably going to go up a lot.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of those differences. And you know, a lot of people might think, well, 2 degrees of loft, what does that matter? I think today, hopefully, with what I think is going to happen and my hypothesis, we're going to see some big differences.
Yeah.
So, you ready to hit some tee shots, Emma?
Yeah, let's do it.
Look like a really good one to start.
Might be just a baby push.
It did kind of turn over there a little bit to the right. You hit it really efficiently, though.
Yeah.
150 on the smash factor. There's a really good ball right there. There's that draw you're talking about.
Yep. Draw.
Just a hair, you know, in terms, I think maybe a tiny bit lower than you're used to.
But I would never be mad about that, like, ever.
No, nobody should be mad about that. It's 272 yards right down the middle, so. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
you seem to not like that one as much, but I mean, it's really good. You have that, again, your attack angle is up, like you said. You know, got to 90 feet, and it didn't stray too far. I mean, you're definitely in play there.
Yeah, like
it might have just be like, you know, in the right rough a little bit, but you're not in trouble.
Right. That's the kind of swing where if I had really high loft on the head, like I feel like that could really get away from me, like really high.
Well, especially
really
the concern that I have too with, you know, I keep my loft pretty low on my driver too, because I hate having, you know, we play in wind around here in Minnesota, and you know, if you hit the ball high in wind, it's a problem. And so especially for me personally, that's why I try to keep the ball a little bit lower off the tee.
Right, definitely. And it's nice to be able to trust that it won't get too high and away from you without actually feeling like you need to change your setup.
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, if it gets windy, people are like, oh, I want to punch my driver. It's like, well, you know, why not just have a loft that you can trust a little bit more? Because for me, if you really need to hit something high, I think it's a lot easier to like tee the ball up higher and hit it high. But if you have a high loft on your head, it's a lot harder to get it to go low.
Yeah, I think that's 100% correct. That was smashed too. Look at that.
Yeah, that was pretty solid.
1.50 on the smash factor. All right. Well, let's get one more here. This is I think you're setting a pretty good pace. And because what I'm curious about here is I actually think when we go to the 11, there's a chance your carry distance actually goes up.
You
with the
think I'll
11.
carry it further?
Just because it's going to go a little higher, it depends. And the fact that you hit up on the ball and you don't spin it a ton already might, but your total distance will be farther with this.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll see.
That looked like another good swing. Oh, yeah.
It's that same kind
There
of,
it is.
that draw.
All right, so we got a dispersion. We've got our shots up there. I mean, looking really good here.
Yeah.
And then what I like the most is how consistent the distance is.
That's what I was just going to say. The fact that
Yeah.
I can miss it right and it's not just some really high
Yeah.
spinning like that. You're going to have misses on the golf course. I mean, you don't want them, but
Right.
when you do, like that one, like it's not going to kill me.
Yeah, I mean, bringing this up, 2311 spin. So it stayed down, in the mid 2000s for spin almost. Whereas, it seems like your go-to spin rate with the driver is right around 2000 RPM. This one went up a little bit higher, but nothing crazy. You're definitely, I mean, looking at the map here, you're in the right rough, but you got a shot, right?
Yeah.
You're very much in play. So that's very encouraging. And then over here, I'm just going to scroll over and look at it. 83 was your average height. And you mentioned 80 to 90 feet is about where your ball typically is. That's kind of where you like to be.
Right.
Attack angle 6, like you mentioned, you hit up on that ball.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take your shaft.
Yep.
I'm going to throw the 11-degree head on there.
So
and we're
common
gonna see
denominator.
what happens. Yep. Everything is going to be the same except for the club head.
Let's see what happens.
You sound very confident.
I do not like a lot of loft in the driver head. Whoa! Look
Certainly
at
a
my
higher
launch angle.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's the highest I've seen from you,
Ever?
I think, ever in here.
Oh boy.
But your attack angle, that's the funny thing, is your attack angle was actually a little bit lower.
Well, my last one was 5.4, so it was.
But on average, you were with this is your standard gamer, right?
Yeah.
But
I would say that's
6.0
about
is 5.9, so.
That's about the same though.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah.
I'm technically lower. But to see it go that high is crazy.
Right. When I'm not swinging it differently.
Yeah. Now, granted, the face was a little bit open too, so.
Yeah, that'll make it go higher. All right.
Ooh. See, this was hit good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is perfect. We get a little bit more spin. The carry distance is right up there, right?
Yeah.
But you're still like 10 yards short of where you can get with your total distance.
I tell you what, something was funny. The way that the ball hit the screen, like it felt like it was lower, but like.
I mean, the launch is still, I think it's a little bit higher yet.
Yeah, the launch is still higher, but.
See, if everything goes according to plan here, I mean, this is good. I mean, through 2 shots, but the launch angle should be about a couple degrees higher.
Oh boy.
Then maybe a miss hit?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like I didn't hit it great, but just automatically the way that it launched.
That's fascinating. That's really high.
Sheesh. 100. If we were into the wind, well, that's the thing. Like, in the more spin that's on it into the wind, the more that it will. Like, if you don't have control on the curve of your golf ball and you're against the wind, it'll actually make it curve even more.
Or same thing on a crosswind. I mean, if there's, especially if you go a big left to right wind, you hit a big high spinny drive, that thing is going to sail to the right.
Right. Oh gosh, yeah. And it's going to go nowhere too.
See, that looks good.
Like if that was.
Yeah, that's a really good tee shot.
Yeah, that's about what I would have thought.
I could tell I could tell it like bothers you the way that the ball is flying.
It's just like it feels like I'm losing it. Like it feels like I like feeling, even though I swing up, I still feel like the ball's in front of me. This one I feel like it's just like high and away.
I mean, hey, that's a really good tee shot right there. I mean, you're right here, Yeah. You got 2 over here to the right. You got 2 that are really good. Let's get one more.
One more.
And then, because I might do, because you had a couple, I know that last one that you hit with this 11-degree head was a bit of a miss.
That was low on the face.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay. You said low on the face, yet it still went 93
low.
feet.
That's like still higher than
so, all right, we have some numbers. I know you didn't swing perfectly with these swings, but we have some good numbers to look at here. Dispersion's a little wider. So what I'm noticing here, look at the spin. Now what I'm going to do actually is take out, I'm probably going to take out a couple, or one from each. We had the one over here. I'll kind of simplify things here. So you're kind of the best 4 out of 5 swings is what we're looking at with each. Again, very consistent with your gamer. I can see why looking at this that you play 9 degrees. Much more consistent for you, and you're hitting the ball farther. I mean, you have all 4 of your drives are farther than anything you hit with your 11 degree. I did want to, let's go over here though, and see, okay, the carry, I was wrong. 5 yards difference, but look at the total distance.
Yeah.
Or distance difference was 15 yards.
Yeah. I will never forget very early on when I first started playing golf, I was using I think like 12 degree driver head, whatever my parents had in the garage.
Yeah.
And I was playing with some boys that I was friends with, and this boy who was younger than me was actually like, hey, why don't you try mine? And it said 8 on it. I was like, 8? I normally hit like 12 or whatever. And I hit his club, and I hit it further than I'd ever hit mine. And I was like, wow, that's kind of how that works.
Yeah, and we should clarify too, not everybody hits it farther with lower loft.
Definitely not, right?
Because of the way you swing, you hit up on it, and that ball launches high, so you can get away with the lower loft. But if there's a lot of players, especially nowadays, we get a ton of golfers that are hitting down on driver,
right?
And they create a ton of spin, and so they need a little bit more to make sure it gets in the air, where they get this kind of low riser deal going on.
Right.
So here, I wanted to point out some numbers. We talked about the spin. More spin with more loft, that makes a lot of sense. We got 20 feet higher on the peak height.
That is a lot.
It's a lot, and but it makes sense. I mean, we're talking about 2 whole degrees of loft, which again, maybe a more casual player that doesn't really know a ton about the whole loft and the dynamics is like, what's 2 degrees going to do? 20 feet on your height is a lot.
Yeah.
And as we talked about here, 15 yards difference in distance.
Wow.
Which is not insignificant. I mean, now we're talking about, we're say playing on the par 4, a 275 tee shot versus a 260 tee shot, you might be hitting a club or 2 shorter into that hole. So again, it's another reason to get fit and make sure your driver loft is dialed in.
No kidding. Yeah.
Because look at, I mean, if I know the question our fitters always ask is, which circle or which oval would you want? So look up here. I got a white one that's got 4 really good tee shots, 1 barely off the fairway.
Yeah.
I've got this orange one that's a lot shorter, a little bit more erratic. Which one do you want?
Geez, tough to say.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like, I feel like especially people don't get fit and you're just buying clubs for yourself, like you don't know what you would choose, and how would you know until you try both of them? So it's hard to say.
Yeah. So driver loft, loft on all your clubs matters, but especially on driver when you're using that as much as any club in the bag besides your putter, it's important to get that dialed in. And so make sure you come in and see a fitter at Second Swing like Emma did for her driver, and get it dialed in. You'll hit farther tee shots, you'll hit straighter tee shots, and ultimately that leads to lower scores. So Emma, thank you for demonstrating for us today why driver loft matters.
Yeah, well said, Drew. Thanks so much.